Let's quickly look back on last weekend. Did it teach you much about your side that you didn't already know? Because we've spoken so much about the inconsistency and the different results and the different performances. It was obviously disappointing, but did you learn too much with the game?
Well, we've learned from it, definitely. It's something that we've had to take into consideration, that they are going to be up and down until we can find that consistency. We're searching for it, we're doing everything we can to try and make us more perfect when it comes to a weekend, if you like. So it's difficult. We're trying our best. We wanted to try and keep the same team on the pitch. We couldn't. Obviously with the Boswick and Shaq. It's just we're finding little niggles here, there and everywhere at the minute, which is frustrating as well. You want to try and get a run together, and you can't get the same team on the pitch when you win a game, which is frustrating. It happened at Fleetwood when we had to change Marcus the last minute as well. It's not an excuse, because we've got a squad capable of coming in, some of the boys coming in and taking the opportunity, but it just hasn't been for them really. So it's important that we stick to our beliefs, stick to our plans, where we know we're doing everything correctly, and the boys are buying into everything. So it's important that we make sure we keep drumming into the messages to them every day in training about their standards, about every little thing, every minor little detail, because ultimately that'll put us in a better place come the weekends.
Yeah, because you know that the work that you're putting in is the right work, because we've seen that with the games where it's gone really well. From your past experience as a coach and as a player, I suppose it's not just a case of flicking a switch. You've just got to keep working, and eventually that consistency will come.
Yeah, I mean it comes within as well. It's we need maybe a couple of leaders in the change room, and we have got some experienced boys in there to step up and come from them sort of way onto the younger boys in the squad, instead of it always coming from myself and Lee and Faz and Tiles and people like that. Come from within to get the best out of you, and drag your standards out every week, not 1 week and then the next week you take it off, or 1 week again. So it's important that we make sure we keep drumming that into them, the players drumming into themselves as well, and their teammates. But listen, we know where we are at the minute. We're 3 points off the playoffs. We're in a position where we can go from strength to strength, I believe. We're getting players coming back from injury. We've had Leon Gold back training with us most of the week, so he's very, very close to coming back. Brad Inman's close as well. So it's starting to come together a bit more now in terms of players coming back. I was watching the Bury game, I think it was, on the TV the other day, and the amount of times they were going on about Bury's missing Tom Pope. Nothing ever gets spoke about Peterborough's got Leon Goal, Brad and Jermaine Anderson out injured. So it's something that I don't want to speak about anyway. But it's just that's the sort of place where we are at the minute. But it's good to have a couple of them coming back.
Yeah, and of course, with it having been very up and down over the past couple of weeks, the emotions are up and then they're down, I guess, to match their performances. But actually, in terms of the points return, if you keep winning, losing all the way through the season, you'd end up with a half decent return, and in comparison to when you were drawing a number of games, you actually end up with more points.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we don't want to lose games. Don't get me wrong, we don't want to lose games, but I think if you look at the previous 4 games, we've picked up 6 points. Previous to that, I think we picked up 6 and 8 with the draws. So I think if I'm asked or whatever, I'm sure I looked at it probably like that, but that's we're building on it. We want to try and build on getting the win, and then if we can't win, don't get beat, and then build it on it that way. Because I think if you do that, you win a game and then you don't get beat, you can start building on it, slowly but surely. And the players are all well aware of that. There's nobody losing any sleep over it around here. We know we're going in the right place. We know where everyone's calm around the building. My staff, the players, but they all know that they need to up the performances a bit more on the Saturday afternoon and roll their sleeves up like they did against the Northamptons and the Burys of the world.
And when you talk about perhaps being a little bit more vocal, some of the players, is that a case of both just generally around the club and I suppose perhaps most importantly within matches, because there's only so much that you and Lee can do when you're standing on the touchline? There will be moments in games where the players have to take a bit of responsibility for themselves.
Yeah, listen, but I'm the manager, Lee's the assistant manager, Faz is the coach, Tyler's the coach. when you've got like a squad that we've got at the minute, I would say they're very much coach-led in terms of instead of taking a decision themselves on the pitch, which is sometimes you need to do when you cross the white line. And if the manager, if I ask him why did you do that, and he's got an answer for me, then I hold my hands up and say brilliant, well done. So we're all in this together. There's no right way and wrong way to do things. It's important that the players understand that. I had a good, really good chat with them Monday, Tuesday about, listen, if you don't agree with anything, say it, because I'd rather you come out and speak instead of being silent. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, the boys they all understand it now, and we're really looking forward to the game on Saturday. It's it'll be a really good atmosphere at Bristol. They have massive fan base, and everyone's looking forward to it.
Yeah, always a great place to go. There's always a real intensity about their games, and I would imagine even more so at the moment because they've been on a good run.
They have. They've come up from the league. They've been on a good. The momentum's been good from last year. As we've seen from Northampton and AFC Wimbledon this year, Bristol Rovers are no different. So it'll be a tricky game, tough game, but we're looking forward to it. It's a game that we know that we can go there if we perform. We're as good as anyone in this league, and if we don't, we can get beat by anyone in this league. That's the fact. That's where we are this season. So we need to make sure the Peterborough team that turns up is the Peterborough team that turned up against Bury and Northampton, and like I say, if we can go there and get a result, we need to build on it again for the next one. Yeah,
and that's what you're seeing from your own side at the moment, but actually through the whole of League One, I would imagine most managers are feeling the same. If we're on it, we can beat anyone. If we have an off day, we can lose to anyone.
I think it's in any league. Outside the Premier League, I think it's, you hear managers talking about consistency constantly, and I think you speak about it so much, it can actually get into the players, and they're like, now my consistency levels need to be better, and it goes against them. A little bit like the Tuesday night thing probably at Peterborough for a year or so. So listen, managers are striving up and down the country to get consistency, to get a run of performances together. We're no different. We'll do everything we can. We work really, really hard to make sure that our players have got everything that they need. And ultimately, like you say, when the players cross the white line, it's about taking a decision into your own hands sometimes, and not having to look at the bench and see what the manager or the assistant says.
And with the injuries then, Lee Angle and Brad Inman both progressing, as is always the way with long-term injuries. I know you'll be really anxious not to rush them, but equally you'll be keen to have them back involved.
Yeah, definitely. Lee, well, it's too early for Lee for Saturday. Next week he could be involved against Chesham if he has a good week's training. Brad probably a week or so after that. So it's important that we, like I say, there's no big expectations on Lee Angle's shoulders. He's been out for a long time, and Brad. We'll slowly drift them back into the squad. They've been training. Brad's been with Ben today, the fitness coach. Lee's joined in with us and looked really, really good. Looks really strong. So great to have him back around the boys. I think it's give everyone a little boost this morning, seeing him, and Tuesday, out there training with us. So delighted for him.
And with the shorter term ones, is Shaq now ready to go?
Yeah, Shaq will be fine for the weekend. Touch and go, Michael Bostwick will be fine for the weekend as well. So we're just waiting on those two as well. They've both done a lot of work with the physio and the fitness coach. So I'm just waiting on the go ahead from them to say that they're fit. So it'll be good to have them two back as well. It's important to have that aggression back in your team. I think when we've played this year, we've had aggression in our play, and Shaq and Ballsy definitely bring that to you.
And just a quick word on George Moncur as well. He's been mainly used off the bench over the past month or so. Is that a case of you want to see more from him personally, or more a case of the tactics and other personnel have dictated what you've wanted to do?
I want to see more of everyone. I think it's important, as a football player, you can always blame the manager for not playing you. You can always look at the manager and go, well, he doesn't like me, he doesn't play me. Listen, I tried to sign George in the summer. I love George as a football player. He knows how much I like him. George is no different to a Ricardo Santos, Jerome Benham, Williams, Hayden White. People, they're all in the same bracket. They're not in the team at the minute. So, like I said to the boys when I speak to them on an individual level, it's not always my fault. What are you doing to be better, and what are you doing to get in the football team? That's what you've got to be asking footballers and players. And something managers always ask me when I played is, what are you doing to get in the team? What are you doing? So that's the sort of question I ask of people who are not in the team at the minute. Do they want to go that extra yard? Do they want to put it in? Do they, for the club, for themselves personally, and their family? So George is no different to anyone else. He's a great lad. He's top class around the building, and he's definitely come in. Especially the first 3-4 games, he was very good, and maybe took his foot off the gas a little bit and got a little bit disillusioned of probably being left out of the team. But listen, if George McCurr is called upon, there's no two ways that he can make a difference to our team. But I've got the players that got waiting in the wings, Gwion Edwards as well, looking for another chance in the team. So no dramas there.